Alright, this is keys 2 for Prince of Peace. It's a little tricky because there's like kind of like an octave gap thing going on here. So at the beginning, you're just going to be playing the chords. You're going to be playing that G major 7 and the F sharp minor low like you usually do. You're going to be doing like the chords to fill out a little bit. So what happens during verse 1 and verse 2, right after he says bursting through the wind, and then in verse 2 right after he says broken to my heart, you're doing the chords, and as you're hitting this B minor down here, you can just do like the 1 and the 5. You don't have to do all 3 notes. You can just do the 1 and the 5 on your left hand of these chords down here while you're doing this. But right after those phrases happen, bursting through the wind or broken to my heart happens, there's just this D and the A like higher up that comes in, if you can hear that in the song. So it's right whenever you're doing the chord progression, it's right whenever you hit this B minor, you just go, and then it kind of like fades away. So you're gonna need to try to make it so that it doesn't like cut out just completely. Try to make it so that you're like lifting your pedal like lightly so that it kind of fades. But it's right whenever you're hitting that B minor, so be prepared to hit that, and then it goes on. So that happens. That's not like a really big deal. It's just like a little accent that happens. But then the bigger part that you're doing is in the instrumental when like the guitar solo is happening. And then that goes into the bridge in the Your Love Surrounds Me When My Thoughts Rage War, stuff like that. So that actually happens, this part happens through the whole thing. So what you're doing is you're doing the chords down here. It's like the D, the E minor, B minor, and the G. So again, I would suggest you doing the 1 and the 5 of, it's like, so it's without that middle. So if you're doing the D, it's without this middle note. So the 1 and the 5 is just this, and the same with the E minor, it's without this middle note. B minor without the middle note, and the G without the middle note. So I would suggest doing that because you're doing this with the right hand. You're going. Okay, so then that happens over and over again, but there's like a gap in between. So there's the D, and the E minor, and then it comes in whenever you hit the B minor. And then it switches like in between, and then it hits that last one when you hit the G. So here's that again. So the notes here are, you're doing like octaves of A's with the D in the middle, and then you walk down to the D minor, and then hit G and B. So again, you're hitting the D, E minor, and then it comes in with the B minor. And then there's a pause, and then there's the D. Context of it, it's your love surrounds me when my thoughts wage war, when I scream terror there your voice will roar, come death, and then it goes back through this. Okay, so this part is really audible. So you'll have to make sure that you're playing the notes. So for this, I have, usually you're a -1 octave on the keyboard, but I have it just on the regular. Usually you're down an octave. I just have it on the regular for this one. Because it's not going to be, because you're going to have to do this low stuff, and you're only going to have room to do that, and then this stuff will have to be this high to hear it. Okay, so it's going to be that is really high so that you can hear it. So those are the two parts of those that little accent thing at the beginning, like in the verses, in the middle of the verses. But this part for before the bridge is like the biggest part that you have.